How's it going, everybody? ZBilbs back here with another on my Versus series. Last time I looked at Doom and Quake, two of the pioneers of the first-person shooter genre, one of the most influential, great, first-person shooters out there. And I mentioned that I was interested in doing Doom and Doom 2, and that is what I'm doing next, because probably when most people think of classic Doom, chances are they're also thinking about Doom 2, because these games, they're practically best if you honestly just play Doom and then Doom 2, because they're so similar but also different and awesome in their own rights. And today I decided to pit them against each other and finally determine which of those two is the better game, which is more worth your time. Um, but without further ado, I'm going to get going in this. Like last time, I'm judging these on 6 categories. I'm going to be tallying up points as to, which does better on each category. But yeah, let's get rolling. So first category, I've got aesthetics and style. These two, I don't really think there's much I can say on this one because they're pretty much the exact same aesthetic and style. I mean, there's some, obviously the levels are different and the enemies are different, but the textures, the graphics, the style is the exact same between the two games because, they're kind of made up back to back. Same engine, same models, same everything. So this one, it's an easy tie. There's really nothing to compare when it comes to that. But moving on to the next category, this is where it gets a little bit different in that we're getting into weapons. Now, this is another one where there really isn't much to say because, Doom, the classic layout of their weapons, shotgun, chain gun, BFG, plasma gun, etc. And Doom 2 has all of that, plus the super shotgun. So, I don't think I'm missing any other weapons in there, but it's Doom 2. Doom 2 takes this round. Doom 2 is more weapons. It's just, that's all there is to it. Next up, we'll be comparing the enemies. Now, this is another one where it's sort of the case, just like the weapons, where Doom 2 is really just Doom, but more. Because that is definitely the case when it comes to the enemies. Doom has the exact same enemies as original Doom, the soldiers, imps, cacodemons, pinky demons, lost souls, barons of hell, but then it's just gotten more. Especially they add in a lot more of the heavy hitters, which I think Doom 1 was severely lacking. Really all it had was the barons and then maybe the cacodemons. There really wasn't anything else that challenged you there. But Doom 2, you've got the chain gunner, which is an absolute nightmare, but super fun. You've got the revenants, which suck, but are also really fun. You got the mancubus. You've got the freaking archvile, absolute pain. And you've got the hell knights, which are just barons, but less. But it adds in even more variety. And arachnotrons too. Like, there really isn't much more to say. Doom 2 wins this round. Just Doom's enemies, but more and better. Some of the most classic enemies in there. And that's all I got for that one. Moving on to bosses. Now, this one, this is the first round where it's a little bit trickier because both games don't have great bosses because sort of the limitations of the time. Starting with Doom, Doom, in my opinion, actually has one great boss, and that is the Cyber Demon. I mentioned in my Doom versus Quake video that this one is awesome for the atmosphere, the like dong 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 that he makes when he walks around. It's actually challenging because he can like one-shot you with his rockets, and you're just strafing around on a really fun map, taking him out. Great boss fight. On the other hand, you've got Spider Mastermind, which you stun lock him with your plasma gun, and he's dead pretty much. It's a really lame final boss fight. But Doom 2, on the other hand, it doesn't really have any sort of real boss fight. I mean, Uh, the Cyber Demon and then the Spider Mastermind will make appearances here and there, but they really just feel like sort of mini bosses, or like, like the Barons of Hell were at the end of episode 1 in Doom. They just show up and it doesn't really feel like a boss fight here and there. Sometimes they'll be blocking the exits, but it it's I mean, it's fine. There's some interesting fights, especially when they have the Baron fighting the Spider Mastermind, but it really just feels like just an enemy, like an obstacle. I don't really think I can include that when it comes to dedicated boss fight. I think it just goes to show how Doom 2 just has better enemies in general. When it comes to boss fights, there is the one elephant in the room, and that is the Icon of Sin. Now this one, I will, before I get into this, I'd like to say I do give this one credit just for the fact that more than any Doom 1 boss fight, Spider Masterminder wrote that, it feels like a legit sort of modern quote unquote boss fight. You've got this big arena, you've got this gigantic target. It feels really big and epic in scope. You know, but that's really all I can say in its credit, because this has got to be one of my least favorite, if not my least favorite boss fight of all time. It's just awful. Like, you're just running around trying to dodge and pray to the Lord that the freaking Icon of Sin isn't going to spawn 1.5 billion of these demons that are going to destroy you, because it's completely randomized whether he's going to spawn an Archvile or something terrible like that. And so then you're just waiting for this stupid platform to go up and down and up, and then you're collecting some power-ups, and you have to perfectly time a stupid rocket shot right into his brain, and then you've got to do it 3 more times. This boss fight, honestly, probably took me a couple hours just for this one tiny level. I was so satisfied when it was done, because not because it was a good boss fight, but because I was so happy that I was finally over with it. The boss doesn't attack you at all. He just sits there and waits to shoot you in his brain. It's a nightmare. I absolutely hate it. Really, there isn't much more to say about this one. Doom 1 wins this one, because Doom, the freaking Icon of Sin, I'm glad Doom Eternal redeemed him, because I absolutely hate the Icon of Sin. Let me know if you disagree with that, but yeah. Now moving on to probably the most tough category, and that is maps. Because both of these games, if they've got pretty much the same set of map designers, and they've both got some really awesome, great classic maps. Starting with Doom, pretty much anything John Romero made in that game is absolutely classic. I love a lot of the more experimental stuff that Sandy Peterson does in that one. With Mount Erebus, especially, I mentioned the other one that's probably my favorite from there. Doom, there's less incredibly wild and crazy maps, but everything in there is solid and works. I don't think I could pick out really any really bad maps in there. There's definitely some that are better than others, but there's nothing wild, nothing crazy. Just really solid, really fun. Moving into Doom 2, I will say Doom 2, when it comes to maps, has higher highs than Doom 1, but it has far lower lows, because they definitely tell. I'm pretty sure Sandy Peterson made a lot more of the Doom 2 maps, because there's some absolutely just crazy, wild, weird maps, and I'd say some of those really work and are really fun. I love Suburbs. I love I think I like Part of the Spirit World, that one too. But that one's also incredibly confusing, and that's really the problem, because I mentioned in Doom versus Quake that the biggest problem with Doom maps are a lot of the times you'll be wandering around and you're almost done, and you just have to find this one door. So you're just looking at your mini map and you're going here and there and there and there. And you're like, where do I go? What do I do? It's not even that it's hard because of the enemies. It's hard because you cannot navigate. It is impossible to navigate. And that is an even bigger issue in Doom 2 in a lot of these maps. A great example of this more, all over the place map design from Doom 2 is Downtown. Now it's absolutely great in concept. You've got buildings all over the place. It's the first one where you're like, yes, this is hell on earth. And there's demons everywhere. It's very tough. But after a while, you go around and you shoot the demons. And for me, I think this one took me like an hour to complete. I like my Doom levels to be, 10, 20 minutes tops to complete. For this one, it was so long because I'm just going all around building to building to building. And it's like, where do I go? What do I do? I have no idea. It's just so obtuse in its design. And unfortunately, that's the case for so many of these levels. A lot of these levels are absolutely spectacular, like really fun, really experimental. There's like tricks and traps is another just weird, wild one. I have a lot of fun with a lot of these maps, but I just cannot deny just how messy a lot of these maps are. And that's ultimately, I think, what gives the edge to Doom on this one, is that when it just comes to what I'd rather go back and play, when it comes to maps, is it's Doom. Because for the first part, there isn't even an episode select in Doom 2. So Doom, I can be like, oh, which episode do I want to play? Go through. Doom 2, if you want to get to, say, like map 28, you've got to go through all of the maps. And maybe there's a level select, I don't know, but if you're playing it through and you want to get to like the better maps, you're gonna have to go through a lot of garbage to get there. There's some good ones on the way, but Doom, it's a lot more streamlined, not quite as high of highs, but just overall more consistent in the quality. And so I'm giving this round on maps to Doom. So that's 2 points, the score tally right here. Going into the last round, and that is the Legacy and Impact. Now, both of these are very close when it comes to their influence because, they're very similar. You had Doom who did it, and then Doom who did it, bigger, more robust. And both were incredibly influential. You're looking at the modern Doom games here. They owe a lot to Doom 2 just as well as Doom 1, even though Doom did it first. Doom 2 arguably added just as much, if not more. It had the super shotgun, which is huge. It's got, as I said, like 6 of those new enemies, which are, staples in the Doom series. It's got those wild, wacky new levels and level design, which would influence, later stuff. But as much as I would like to account for all of that being super influential, this round is just, it's hands down to Doom. Whereas I made the argument that, Quake is just as influential as Doom. When it comes to Doom and Doom 2, you cannot discount the fact that Doom is just Doom. It is the godfather of first-person shooters. Things were called Doom clones. They weren't called Doom 2 clones as much as, Doom and Doom 2 were sort of lumped together. Doom, just in general, is just the most, revolutionary first-person shooter of the time, and still to this day. And for me, it's an easy pick for Doom as to which one has the greater lasting impact. But either way, here are the final scores right here, and as you can see, the winner is Doom. As much as I really genuinely do love Doom 2, I think it's a great game and it's worth playing. When it comes to which is a better game and which is held up better, I think it is Doom at the end of the day. It's timeless. It's great. As I said, other video, I still enjoy Quake more, but when it comes to Doom and Doom 2, if you had to pick one, I think Doom holds up just a little better, is a little bit more fun, a little bit more replayable. Although there is a lot to love about Doom 2. But that's all I got for you. Let me know if you want me to do a Versus series on any other Doom games, Doom 64, Doom 3, Doom 2016, Doom Eternal. If you want to see a Versus on different games, if you want to see a game ranking, or any other type of videos, just comment below, and that's it. That's all I got for you. I'll see you later.